For the longest time, I used to think success as a music teacher just meant more students or teaching longer hours or really just like squeezing time in for my music someday whenever I do get free. Like I literally thought my performance career was going to be over after I graduated music school because I'd be stuck in a music classroom for like 8 to 10 hours a day. So when I decided to go all in on my piano studio, I felt like business was a foreign language to me. They never taught this in music school. So in this video, I'm going to share with you a short snippet of a 90-minute workshop that I did called The Balanced Creative. And it's all about mastering your business just like how you mastered your own music so that money flows to you and not against you. So I wanted to share this snippet with you all because this is really for you if you're ready to create a school that really energizes you, not drains you. If you want to teach dream students who value your expertise and your creativity, but also be able to let go of that survival energy that you started with when you started your studio and really lead with a new version of yourself. So if you're ready for that next step into your new chapter of your music school, I'm excited for you to check out this video and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. The last pillar here is vision over survival. And you will always create what you focus your vision on. And the problem I'm seeing with a lot of teachers is that if we all just focus on just surviving, that's all we will create. Kind of like what you said, Greg. If all you're really focusing on is getting more work, that's all you'll get. And same thing here. It's like if all we're really focused on is just surviving, then that's what we will create. So what we need to do is we need to have a vision that is like a vision that is like bigger than us, right? Why are we here? We're here not just to like play music, but we're here to like serve this idea of music, is to share that as well. And I saw that I saw this transformation in Emily's story. You both know Emily. If anybody here watching doesn't know Emily, she runs a big music school. She's also like a dog trainer as well. And I wrote here, it's much bigger than just playing notes. And Emily's brand first started off as like Miss Emily's Music School. And I wish she was here because she could probably share her story better than I could, obviously.
He's my hero. I'm sorry. He really is.
Yeah. And when she first started off, it was like kind of like in the traditional, I feel like it was a little bit in the traditional model, right? Like she named her school after herself. She got a big location, hired a big team. But she was feeling really unaligned with her parents and the clients that she was attracting. So when she really focused on like moving from just Miss Emily's Music School to Rockstar Rebellion now, and when she finally aligned like her brand to her vision, from herself to her vision and her philosophy, and this idea of like she wants to attract students who rebel against the things that they don't believe against, and to be convicted in their belief. She found better clients because of that, incorporating her own story into this. It's much bigger than just playing notes. It's much bigger than just being a musician as well. It's like being somebody who's always going against the grain of what they don't believe in. And kind of like that rock star type of mentality. Like if you check out her content, it's so much better than I could explain. But the point is that she's attracting way better clients because of that, right? And she feels so excited. She's refound her love for her music school again, and now it's just moving steady again. It's not volatile anymore, and because she's able to provide an experience that she feels proud to share, a vision where her music school is able to support that as well. She's getting parents and clients who believe in that vision along with her. So for you, when you're sharing your vision and you're sharing the why of like why you're doing this, you're gonna attract clients who believe in that as well. Whether that's living a life through this lens of being a musician, whether that is being the best musician that they can, reaching their potential, like whatever that is, that's what we need to share, and that's what we need to align with. So here's like I think we've talked about this, Tim, like, you know, this talk, but it's like Frank Kern's core influence talk. And Frank Kern's like big in like the coaching, the digital marketing space, and he has a talk here around core influence. And how I see core influence is like the reason why this is so important is because the easiest way to lead and influence people is to speak to their core. And the easiest way to speak to their core is by living through your core. It's like, hey, I have this life. If you want this life, I am here to help you create that as well. All right. And that's been a really big shift for me, because that was part of like why I went all in on my music production, because I was like, if I'm helping teachers create this freedom to do the things that they love again, like playing music, I should be doing that as well. And because I've been doing that, like it's been able to help me attract way better clients and teachers that I feel so aligned with. Um, One of the easiest ways, I feel like this is something that's super underrated. Easiest ways, the thing that stands us teachers apart from any other like online coach out there that will help you attract more dream students is actually using your musical sound to do that as well. And look back on your content and ask yourself like how often am I sharing my own music and my own musical sound in my marketing? Because in performances, right, this is a way for you to stand out as an artist. Your musical sound is a way for you to resonate with the audience's core. It should be able to do the same thing with your marketing, because I guarantee you will have students out there who want to work with you just because of how you sound on your instrument. Like just because how beautiful your voice sounds, right? Like that is a huge reason why students will want to work with you. So if we're not sharing that, if we're not sharing that with others, then we're missing a huge part of our marketing. Does that make sense? Sweet, sweet. So I wanted to share this video here. This is just for some context. This is a voice message from Avery, my music production coach, that fundamentally changed the way I view my creativity. It's about 6 minutes long, and it's going to be the last thing that we talk about before we get into the last question. So I'd love for you just to like be able to take this in, be present here, but listen to what he shares about for like helping me reach that next level of my musicianship, and just view it through the lens of like, how would this look like for my music school, right? How would this look like for my teaching? Because even though we talk about music here, this directly applies to business. So I'll go ahead and play it. We'll listen to it, and we'll just like finish off this workshop here.
Okay, so you're
All
entering
good, all
a
good.
phase where there's like
Perfect.
deep discussions that need to begin happening around the questions that you're asking now, because to get to further levels past, it goes beyond skill acquisition. Basically, lowest common denominator of like being very good at the craft is to be very good at the craft. After that, it comes entirely into intangibles, right? So basically, what makes these producers so good? Well, let's ignore. Well, first of all, I hate using the word good, right? So in fact, I should instead use the word what makes them resonate with so many people so deeply. So the first thing let's do is let's push aside any thoughts of skills themselves, right? Because skills will only get you so far, and that's basically the minimum viable thing. Like I said, you've been drilling on skills, and that's one of the most simplest things we can possibly drill on and improve, which is how do I actually make music that is objectively good and enjoyed by people and makes sense? And those are the skills that you've been building and getting better and better and better at, and we've objectively been able to see that, and your competence has been greatly growing. So now, the next thing, again, as I'm saying, is the intangibles. So it is about resonating deeply with a specific audience and knowing who you are creating for, and also knowing that it's coming from a place deep inside you. So to me personally, this is when we actually enter the spiritual domain. This is where you have a message deep inside of you and you resonate it outward, and your music is the craft that it takes the form of, and then it will resonate with a large group of a certain audience that resonates with that thing inside of you that is coming through the music you're making. And so people like Martin Garrix, people like the Skrillex, people like some of the largest people that we see, they're not big names that people recognize just because like they're good at music. It's because there is something inside of them that they have captured, and they're transmuting it outward into the art form of music, right? And so this is just where their art, where their message is taking its form, and they're able to do so articulately and clearly, right? So at this point, when you realize anything anybody says about the music itself falls away because it's somewhat irrelevant, because it's a message that's coming deep within them that they have used their skills to be able to create. So basically, what I would say is that learning music and learning deeply the skills that you've been acquiring is all being done just so that you are ready for the muse. Because when the muse comes to you, it needs to be in a vessel that is able to receive it and actualize it into the world. So if many times I think you may get things in your brain that's like, I need to make this thing is coming out, I need to make it, but I can't do it, something is holding me back. That is a moment of your muse. And if you can't articulate it and bring it out, that muse may go to somebody else who is ready to receive it. So I'm thinking a big part, a lot of what we do is to simply prepare. Why do we drill? Why do we finish so many songs? Why do we do this? It's to prepare for when the muse shows up, so that when it is there, we can allow it to come through us, and we can consistently show it that we are here to receive it and to let it through us. So that is what I think most of these large artists who have staying power, right? There's a lot of people who are fly by night. They'll have a one-hit wonder, they'll have something happen and then they'll leave. But those who have staying power, they're surfing the intangible wave between this force that I'm talking about, where there's a message that they're receiving and they're able to articulate it clearly out into the world. And that is the gift that they have. So it is something that is both within them and also resonates with a large audience. And finding and really creating from that delicate balance. So really the next level of progress is not really skill-based. It's something deeper that is harder that has much more kind of meditative internal work, and to show up consistently and to allow room for it. And I think it has much more to do with crafting mission statements and things that might be more business oriented, but from a spiritual perspective. So for example, what is the mission statement of the album that you want to make? What will it do for the people who listen to it? What will the resonance be in the world? What will the ripples be that it creates in the world? Write the mission statement for the album, and then craft a series of work that actualizes that mission statement, and then use the skills that we're building to help you do so. That is how you get to the next level. So it's really not going to be at a certain point about, as I'm saying, like, oh yes, Martin Garrix is so good because he knows the right clap to use. No, he knows how that, it's not even a knowing. He feels the connection between the emotion and the sounds he's picking and everything to create a larger ecosystem. And it touches everything that they do, right? So it's not even just the music. It's a whole brand. Again, if we're coming back to that branding idea, it touches on the whole brand. It's in the images that they choose, the clothing that they wear, in the colors that they're using, right? It's in all of those little intangibles. It's everything coming through. I think great examples of this were like some of the legendary like metal bands of maybe like the 80s, like we look like an Iron Maiden, people like those, people who like really were personifying a very specific cultural statement. And everything that they did pushed out that cultural statement that was both something that came from within them deeply and also resonated with an audience. And the music was the vehicle for a cultural statement. And everything that they did was around that statement of resonance. Because again, if we're trying to reach normal human beings on a deep level, they do not care about any of the things that we talk about. They don't care about EQ. They don't even know what that is. They don't care about what clap. They don't care about any of these things. They care about the emotional resonance and that it relates to something in their life on a deep level. And so this is that next thing, which is why it's somewhat hard to get at, because you'll notice the topic that I'm discussing is something that we can't actually ever really touch. It's something we can only skirt around, because there are no words that can be said that can describe the thing that I'm talking about. So all we can do is try to point at it, and it's something that can come from within. And again, we're using all of these skills to allow us to get closer to that. So again, the most practical thing that I can say on this topic is, again, on the lens of the mission statement. What is the mission statement of the album that you are going to write?
So yeah, very powerful. And I definitely see that for our business, because like same thing, right? It doesn't matter like what you say in your content. It's like the energy that you speak through. So the question I want to ask is like, how can you start incorporating your mission statement into every element of your music school? Whether that's like from the lessons to the way you attract your students, right? What are the moments in your week where you're seeing evidence of this mission? What are those core ideas that are the foundation of your mission, and how you're sharing that through your content?
Back in the other life, when I was doing hypnotherapy, there was an induction called the Prometheus induction, and so if you know, are you familiar with the story of Prometheus?
Yeah.
Okay, so think of what you're declaring here in this statement about your mission statement, and think about how far-reaching that mission statement can be if it is from your core. And what I realized is I need to be more pervasive in my core. I got to get closer to it in my mission. So
yeah, and that's the work. Yeah, right. Like it might not be super clear right now. And that's totally fine because, yep. And these are like not easy questions to answer, but right. That's not the point of it. The point of it is like, this is the question that we need to answer. It's like, you don't have to go searching for what's the next marketing funnel or what's the next best strategy. It's like this is the next step. This is the step that will take you to that next level. Like that's like the breakthrough that I had when I was working with Avery with my music production. It was like, okay, I'm getting good at writing songs and making music, and I can make it at a professional level. Like, what's actually stopping me from getting to that next level? Well, it's like, it's like getting deeper into this part. And this is where like I don't know, for me, like the possibilities just open up so much. Like, it's like you've entered or you exited the atmosphere of Earth and you have entered space. And it's like, sure. Where do I go now? Like, that's how it might feel right now. But this is where the fun begins. This is where you get to explore. This is where you get to try things out. So yeah, I just wanted to share that voice note because that was like a pivotal moment for me that kind of like changed the way I see everything.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and the cool thing is, I used to practice these creativity exercises that would challenge, challenge those limiting beliefs, or any limiting beliefs, really. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, just because you know the techniques doesn't mean that you're not going to get sucked into the gravitational pull of those other things.
Yeah.
So this is good. This is good.
Awesome. So yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to share here. So just closing off this workshop. Of course, if you have any questions, let me know. I would love to hear your biggest takeaways in the community, and to hear your thoughts on this. Like, I'll share the slides as well. I'll share the recording once I kind of like just chop it up. But the last thing I want to share is like, you are the creator of your life. So go make it happen, right? This is everything we covered here. This is all around being that balanced creative.